So the thing about, first of all, it's great to see you guys. I hope you're having a delicious Monday. And today we're talking about organization techniques for the staffless practice. If you have staff, have them listen to this because it's going to make their job easier. The goal with staff, if and when we have them, is for them to show up at the office and do what they're great at doing, not to waste their time, not to waste their talent. If we don't have staff, there's one of 4 things that should happen with our daily to-do list. And a great to-do list is a great place to start when it comes to organization. And we'll get into that in a minute. So 4 things that could happen with the things on your list. 1, you get rid of it, you cross it out. And that's just a matter of asking yourself, is this still something that's necessary for me to be doing on a regular basis? Will this continue to move my practice forward? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you can automate it. If it's something that can be automated without losing the personal experience, because nobody wants to be on the other end of automation that doesn't feel personal. It's just gross, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is delegate. So we've got get rid of it, automate it, delegate it. If you're going to delegate it, you got to make sure, you guys, if you're my students, this is all in Team of One, which is an entire program about when to hire, how to train, how to nurture, how to nourish, how to give consequences. If you're going to delegate, you need to make sure that if I'm throwing that ball in your court, you're in the receiving position, you're in the catcher's position to catch it, and you know how to catch that ball. Right? There are some balls that you could throw in my court and I wouldn't know the first thing to do with them, like bookkeeping or like HIPAA compliance or note-taking, just not my jam, right? So when people reach out to me and they're like, what do I do for HIPAA compliance? I'm like, I don't know what to do with this ball, but I sure do know who does, right? So 4 things. 1 is you either get rid of it. 2 is you automate it, and you automate it without losing the personal experience. 3 is you delegate it to somebody who can properly receive it and knows what to do with it. And the 4th thing is that you just do it. So whatever you're left with that has to be done, that becomes your to-do list. And part of finding an organization system that works for my brain, which you guys, it changes all the time. This is like the one thing that's constant in life is change. You know how they say that? The one thing that's constant in my life is my systems changing, because I change them all the time because I get bored. I'm like a puppy with this stuff. I love tech. I love organization systems. I love notebooks and pens and papers and planners and all of you guys. I even made a planner and I don't use it because I got stuck on the next shiny object. So 1, you get rid of it. 2, you automate it. 3, you delegate it. And 4, you do it. If you do it, you need to put it in the right place. If you delegate it, it needs to be put in the right place. And you need to somehow, ideally, you don't need to do anything, but ideally, you've got your mind and you've got your heart on having a beeline to check in or to ask you, whoever's taking care of it, to put it back in front of you and show you that it's been done. So those are the pieces of organization that are really imperative, especially if you're running a practice without staff present. If you've got a practice with staff present, I beg of you to have a system in place where whatever it is that they're doing throughout the week, whatever their checklist is and wherever their checklist is, because some people use this program, some people use that program, they're putting it in front of you to show you that what you really need to care about has been taken care of. And I'm going to show you how I do that in a minute. Okay. I also want you to remember to not hold on too tightly to the systems that you choose. You could choose to use an organization system that in 3 months from now doesn't work for you anymore. So you pivot, you say new rule, and you go into a new system. My coaches tell me that every time you change an organization system, it sets you back a quarter. This is true for an EHR program. It's true for one of the things that we do for our clients is we build them new websites. It's true for building a new website. It's true for implementing a new communication system in the practice. I would say expect for whatever you're implementing to set you back as far as forward movement for the practice a couple of months. And then if it doesn't, you're pleasantly surprised. Okay, so I think what I want to do, hi Karen, I think what I want to do, and if you guys, if you're here and you have questions, drop them in the comments if you're watching this live. I want to screen share and show you some of my favorite organization tools. I just don't want to screw any of this up, so just give me a minute here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you, I have a virtual assistant. Let me just say that if you don't already know who I am, I've spent almost 23 years in practice, and my practice is really fast moving. There's always something going on because that's my jam. That's the way I like it. And I spent a lot of those years and a lot of that energy trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and I couldn't do it. So now these days, as I'm practicing without staff present, subluxation adjustment, subluxation adjustment, subluxation adjustment, symptom treatment, symptom treatment, symptom treatment, hunger, nourishment, hunger, nourishment, hunger, nourishment. If there's a need, you create a solution. If there's no need, don't go looking to create a solution. If there's no solution yet, you pull from the solutions within your wheelhouse. Please do not go looking for solutions where there's no need. Please do not look for adjustments where there's no subluxation. If you're a chiropractor, you know what I'm saying there. Is that fair? The reason I'm saying this is because if you're super well organized and you feel like you're kind of jamming along and you got your thing going on, if it works, don't fix it. Keep going with it, okay? These are just the solutions that work really well for me and how fast I move through the world. Just about every weekend, somebody could find me in the aisles of the local Staples looking for a new date book. It's very rare that there are new date books in the aisles, but the potential of a new date book is something that quite frankly floats my boat. So I'll go over to Staples just for the potential of it. And every once in a while I score and I find a new date book and I come home and my husband looks at me like, here we go again. And I grab all of my fancy, these are my newest favorite, all of my fancy markers and the new paper, and I just reorganize all of my stuff with my new planner. I do this just about once a week, if not every other week, because this is what makes me feel settled, because I'm working like 70 hours a week right now. It's insane what's going on this side of the computer. So these days, this is my to-do list. It's a paper Franklin Covey system, and I use the weekly version. This is just this week, and it could totally change next week. And then I use a blank sheet in between each week so that I can keep writing, because I have so many thoughts that go so fast, and I need blank space to write. So that's my paper. If I'm on with a client, if I'm in a coaching session with somebody, I have to write down any ideas that come up for how I can be better, or how I can better serve, or different solutions that I can put in front of you. Okay, so that's my paper solution right now. Ha, you're my people right back, sister. Okay, so I want to go into sharing my screen now. And then remind me before we get off to show you like paper to the nth degree, a project that I did at my last training. So you're looking at a Monday.com board. This is actually the program that we use for our accountability program for our clients. If you become my client, when you become my client, we hold you accountable. The one thing that you will say that every person who works with us says is our accountability is on point. You tell me what you want to create and we're going to hold you accountable to it. In fact, if you want to talk to me more about that, drop the word accountable in the comments below. Okay, so this is a training board. And again, this is Monday.com. This is my light source check-in how-to. How do my VAs check into my practice and make sure that my practice members have everything they need? This is a training board. And it's the SOP. Like, I'll go ahead and record how I want it done. And then my team watches the recording and marks it done when they've watched it. Okay. So this specific person still has some training to do. This is Cassie's board. And I put the SOP with the videos right in here. So here's a video for her to watch. This happens to be on Zingle. And this is for the Sunday text that we send out. Usually there are words in the SOP too, but this specific one, does it have words? No, it doesn't have words because I probably go over the words in the SOP. So that's how we create our SOPs. A lot of people are like, oh, what do I do about an SOP? Like SOP, standard operating procedure. Basically, you get your practice ready to hand to somebody else, whether it's a new office manager or an associate or another doctor or practitioner. And all of the things are where they need to be to know how to run the practice. That's an SOP. And our students get an entire course on how to create the perfect SOP for a wellness practice. So for me, my SOP needs to be super user-friendly. It needs to be reproducible. It needs to be accessible on any screen so that if Cassie is walking her dog and wants to listen to a training while she's walking her dog, she can do that. It needs to be easily editable. It needs to be so that you can easily tag whoever it is that you're training and they'll get an email or a reminder of some sort. I've seen coaches who charge upwards of $50,000 a year for coaching. I've seen them use Google Documents for SOPs. It doesn't matter. As long as the system works for your brain, your heart, your culture, your community, you're good, okay? All right, let me go back to sharing my screen. And if you guys have comments, I'll look at, I'm not looking at Facebook right now. I'll look at it again in a minute. I'm actually gonna look at it really quick to make sure I'm on the right screen. I think I am. Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to go over, I'm the queen of SOPs. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry ahead of time. I also want to show you guys. Let's go OG client templates. Just to give you like a bird's eye view, this is an accountability board for our program. Literally like everything you could possibly need for your practice and more. Okay. And it goes on and on. These are the different programs that we have. People watch the program from here. They mark it complete when they're done. And then everything that we give people ends up in a to-do list. They have a date for it. And this is the kind of thing that you can do with your team too, if you have a team. Okay, let me go to Zingle. Zingle is my texting line, and this becomes my running to-do list. And I like to use a really simple texting program. I know there are a lot of texting programs to choose from. The reason I use this one is because it's cheap. The only thing it does is texting. It's super, like, you can't go wrong with it. So basically, if I want to send a text out for our Monday message, this week for practice greatness, and I'm going to put words here. Take a deep breath and know that you are loved. I would say something like that. And I would give it to a group of people. So this would go to marketing text. There's marketing text. And then all of these people, just about 200 people, will get this text, but it will look like it's only going to them. And then all of these people will message me back saying, thank you, got it. And some of them might ask a question like they want to do this or they want to receive this. And that will become my running to-do list. And all of these texts will show up right here. So that's how I use a texting program. My point is, you guys, that you got to figure out what works best for you and your brain and your heart. And there's nothing worse than a disheveled, unorganized, disorganized practice. So make sure that the inside of the drawers are just as clean as the outside of the drawers. Make sure that there's clear space and surfaces all over the office. Make sure that you have regular reminders and systems implemented to water the plants, to change the light bulbs, to change the diffuser water, all of these things. These are the pieces of organization that we forget. because we've got a lot going on, especially if we don't have staff in the office. If you do have staff in the office, what I beg of you is to make sure that A, they're happy, B, they're taken care of really well, you're in fair exchange with them, C, you are communicating with them regularly, and D, they have a really easy way to put in front of you that they did their job for the week. So whether it's a checklist that you check off at the end of the week, whatever works best for you works best for you. These are the kinds of things where if I'm coaching you, I'm showing you go right here, go left here, and then come back and tell me where you end up. Okay, let me just see if there are any more comments. I think that's it, you guys. So organization front and center. Please remember that next Wednesday, I have an invite-only training. If you're watching this inside of our Facebook group, go over to the events tab. It's Wednesday, March 15th, and I'm going really deep into details on the Staffless way. So that's where you can get more. Other than that, drop comments below if you need any support. If you have any questions, I'm right here, and I really appreciate you watching.